Hello there, lovely people. It's Alex from Nintendo Life here, and today it is time for us to look at the most lovely, the most wonderful games coming out in the month of November for the Nintendo Switch. As always, before we get into it, this is not every game that's coming out for the Switch in the month of November 2018, nor is it necessarily the absolute finest, because a lot have yet to be announced, and also, these are just our personal picks. If we've missed something you love, don't take it personally. But anyway, that's more than enough waffling, let's dive right into things. Okay, so coming up on the 1st of November, which just so happens to be the day of recording, because Halloween, we have got Transistor. Now, this is a game that I didn't actually know anything about before going into this video, but I was assured by my colleagues that it was well worth including, and by Jove were they correct. It's a gorgeous action RPG with beautifully realized, I mean, just look at it. Where is it? It's over there. I always forget which side. It's a little bit Zelda-y in its own way, but just look at that art style, the direction. You can tell that this was made by the same people that made Bastion. And if you haven't played Bastion, oh my god, there's two of us. But apparently it's lovely. On the very same day, the 1st of November, we also have Machinarium, which I'm afraid I might have mispronounced. Again, this is a game with a beautiful art style, only it's less going for the sort of the pretty angle and more going for the sort of the grungy, horrible angle, but it works really well. It's essentially a point-and-click adventure game, and the little robot that you not so much control, but help navigate, I suppose, is absolutely adorable, and it's all just taking place in this really unusual world, this beautiful sort of mechanical land where robots roam the earth, and I just think it looks an absolute treat. I've seen it come up time and time again in the past. I've not yet played it myself, but now that it's coming to Switch, I've got an excuse, haven't I? Then on the 2nd of November, we have got Diablo 3 Eternal Collection. Now, I've already done a review of this, so I've actually played it and know an awful lot about it. Or at least some. Much like the older games, Diablo 3 is a top-down sort of isometric adventure action RPG style game where there would be an awful lot of clicking if they hadn't, you know, sort of gone down the hole. You can actually hold a button down rather than pressing it rapidly, which I'm most grateful for. The crux of the game is loot. You are going to be looking and finding lots and lots of loot, and it's going to give you all sorts of different powers and abilities and buffs and perks and all those good things. And yeah, it's just a sort of, it's a very grindy game and arguably a little bit repetitive, which I said in my review, but I still really enjoyed it. Although somebody seemed to think I didn't in the comments, which I don't know how they came to that conclusion. Also on the 2nd of November, we have got Swap This, which is going in completely the other direction. This is, in essence, a puzzle game, if that hadn't been immediately obvious from just seeing it. And it's one of those matching style games where you have to match various tiles, or in this case, creatures in ice cubes, and you have to match them all up of the same color, and yeah, you know, sort of, that's the same idea. It's been done before, but there is a difference, and that difference is sort of time. Rather than things sort of activating the moment you swap them over and you match them all up, there's in fact a bit of a delay and it takes a while for this to happen, meaning if you're quick, you can swap loads and loads and get really big combos going. And that's a really clever idea. If you're really clever, you can even, like, if you had a yellow and a red that were both in sort of clusters of yellow and of the opposite color, you can swap them around and all of a sudden you've got double going at the same time. Not, you know, that's not terribly original, but then you can do that loads and loads of times, and then in one moment, boosh, you just get a load of points. It's a simple change up of the formula, but I think it's a really interesting one, and I'd love to give this a ruddy good go. Then on the 5th, we've got Moonlighter, which is essentially a sort of a Zelda-like top-down dungeon crawler style game, but rather than just doing that, everything that you get, you then sell in your shop during the daytime, which is your normal job. I know a lot of people are getting pixel art style fatigue, but this one does it in a really lovely way. It's so fluid and really just looks like it's been rendered properly, and, you know, sort of, I say properly as if pixel rendering isn't. That's wrong, it's lovely. But it's more like somebody's hand-drawn the animations, but then it's been just downscaled to a really low resolution. I don't know whether that's what they've done, or maybe whether it's rendered rendered in 3D and then it has this filter put over the top of it. I genuinely don't know, but whatever it is, it looks bloody lovely, so I'm not arguing. Then on the 6th of November, we have got World of Final Fantasy Maxima coming to Nintendo Switch, unsurprisingly given that that's what the whole video is. If you're a fan of the Final Fantasy series, then this is a game that you will love because it's sort of like an amalgamation, a big sort of melting pot of all the different Final Fantasy games, and it's sort of a bit like Hyrule Warriors where it's like worlds collide and, you know, all the different characters do different things and you command them and they do stuff. Only thing is, I cannot stand the art style. Some of the characters and enemies look fine, but it's the sort of squashed, chibi, Funko Pop style. I just absolutely abhor it. And I don't think I could play this game simply for that fact. It's stupid and ludicrous because apparently this is a very good game and I can't let my own personal feelings get in the way of including it on this list because it is worthy. I'm just an idiot. Also on the 6th of November, we have got Brawl Halla, which is a free-to-play brawling style game, not entirely dissimilar to Super Smash Bros, but even so, it looks genuinely interesting, and I don't think it's going to knock Smash Bros, you know, well, knock its crown off, as it were. But I do think that it's definitely going to pique some interest because it is a free-to-play game, so people can just download it, give it a go, and so you've got that sort of easy entry into that sort of game. But yeah, it's not going to beat Smash, is it? Still on the 6th of November here, we've got Grip Combat Racing. Now, I've heard that apparently the Switch version has quite a few issues. I haven't played it myself, but I have heard that there are some pretty horrible things going on with the Switch version, but if they do patch it, and I have heard they will, apparently this is a ruddy, marvellous game, and it certainly looks it. Previous versions have been rated extremely well on all sorts of different platforms, you know, Steam and whatever, and yeah, I just think it looks like a really cool racing game. I particularly love the car core. Is that what they're calling it? Car core or something? Where you drive along, you got to go through all these various crazy loops and things like that just couldn't possibly exist. I really like the sound of that. That sounds really cool. I just really hope that they manage to sort out the Switch version post-haste. Then, moving on to the 8th of November, we have got Battlezone Gold Edition. Now, if you remember the sort of the vector-style arcade games from back in the day, not that I do, I wasn't really alive, but I do know they exist, and I always loved that sort of clean, sort of wireframe look, and this sort of plays off that art style, and I think it looks beautiful. The neon colors, the ridiculous contrast, and you basically drive around in a tank trying to destroy other tanks. It's not out of this world, but apparently it's ruddy marvellous. Moving on to the 13th of November, we have got SNK 40th Anniversary Collection. I need to double check I said that right. I did. This is a strange move because SNK have been releasing a lot of their games, their old arcade games, mainly the Neo Geo stuff, on the Switch as sort of standalone titles, but this is a collection of entirely separate arcade releases. I think they're all arcade releases. These sort of collections are nothing new, but what's really interesting is there's one game in there that has sort of always been at the back of my mind in a weird way, at least from when I browse the internet, and that's Crystalis. Everywhere I look about this game, people are talking about Crystalis. Now, I specifically have not looked into it because I really like these styles of games, and I do want to play this and go in as blind as possible. But apparently it's ruddy marvellous. So I can't really talk about it because I don't really know anything about it, but apparently it is amazing, and I've specifically kept myself in the dark. So, sorry. Stepping into the 16th of November, yes, it's Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Pokemon Let's Go Eevee. What can I say about this game? Well, probably a lot. I'm genuinely really looking forward to this now. When it was first announced, I was a bit sort of I wasn't really sort of bowled over by it, but as time has gone on and I've learned more about it and the integration with Go and stuff like that, I'm genuinely really looking forward to it now. I like the idea of being able to sort of, revisit the old classic Pokemon Yellow style story, only this time with, sort of brand new graphics, and just the idea also of just having a Pokemon game on the Switch and playing a Pokemon game on a TV. Oh god, it's been so long! I know we've had spin-offs and stuff like that with things like Pokemon Colosseum and Pokemon Stadium and all those sort of things, and, you know, yeah, especially Pokemon Colosseum, that really was sort of like a full Pokemon game with the full battle mechanics and an adventure mode and stuff like that, but it is not the same. It is not the same as the mainline series, and again, this probably should be classified as a spin-off, I know, but you know what? I don't care. It's close to the mainline series, and that is what matters to me. Also, I think it looks lovely. Loads of people said it looks really basic, but I just think it's sort of, that's how it's stylized, and I really like it. May not be the most impressive visually, but I like it, so I don't care. Battling with Pokemon on the 16th of November is Civilization 6. Now, at the time of recording, I've never played a Civilization game. Well, I technically have now. I've just started loading it up on another system. Not Civ 6, Civ 5, just so that I can get a bit of a leg up. And I really have been wanting to play this for ages. I love real-time strategy games, and it's not a real-time strategy, it's a turn-based strategy game, but it looks like a real-time strategy game. But I absolutely love the idea of it, and apparently Civilization is supposed to be one of the kingpins. And it's just one of those games that I never got around to playing, you know? So the fact that it's coming to Switch, oh, that is a spicy meatball for me there. So I'm really looking forward to that. And finally, on the 20th of November, we are getting Warframe. Again, apparently a massive game that I knew nothing about until it was announced for Switch, because it's all Switch all the time for me. I don't have time to look at other systems. It's sort of like a ninja-style combat game, and it's a free-to-play one, again, which I actually, for a long time, I hated the idea of free-to-play, but now I actually quite like it because I'm very good at not spending money in free-to-play games. And, you know, the idea that you can download such a fully fleshed game for free, and, you know, there's bonus stuff if you want to pay for it, but the fact that it can be for free is just ludicrous and mind-boggling. And, you know, as long as, you know, they don't try and abuse it too much, I'm all for this style of thing. But that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about Warframe. The combat is very ninja-inspired. I really like the setting as well, the sort of the cyberpunk style. I don't know if it's really cyberpunk because I don't know the definition, but I really like the look of it, and, you know, it's free. How can you argue? Download it. If you don't like it, just get rid of it. Easy peasy. And there you have it. Those are 13 excellent, fantabuloso new games coming to the Nintendo Switch in the month of November. Did we miss your favorite game? Please let us know what hideous human beings we are in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, then why don't you slap that subscribe button with as much gusto as you can muster, and be sure to check out nintendolife.com for all sorts of lovely Nintendo-related content. Thank you again for watching. Bye-bye.